to another episode of the Between Hulls podcast on what is the calmest day we've had on the Pacific Ocean yet. The sun just set, I'm on watch, and there is not 4 knots of wind and 2.5 knots of wind to speak of, and it's probably the most we've had all day. We're making about 6 knots, which is pretty good. Why don't you dial in your compasses to north 13 degrees, 17 minutes by 90 degrees, 25 minutes west. If you want to know where we are, which happens to be in Guatemala. Welcome, baby. And I chose to film the podcast today at this specific time because in about a minute and a half, we are going to cross the territorial boundary between Guatemala and El Salvador. And if you're keen and like to make smart observations, you will have noticed that means we're no longer in Mexico. We checked out of Chiapas, and it was a very lengthy process. It took us about 2 days to get all the paperwork done. It's not so simple when you're on a boat as it is when you're on a plane. You get to fly right in, right out. Systems are already set up. When you're on a boat and you want to check out of Mexico, you got to get the port captain's signature. You got to get some drug dogs to come on your boat.
It wasn't drugs, it was a cash dog.
It was a cash dog, Chris says.
Cash and gun dog.
Do you want to talk about the dogs?
Sure, here,
Okay, Chris is going to come back and talk about the dogs. We made it through the winds of Salinas, which were actually salinously that was a bad joke, which were seriously calm. We had no problems to worry about, but on the other side, we heard stories of people who did not get so lucky, dealing with 35-foot waves, huge winds. We did not have the case. We got very lucky on the way back from winds of Salinas. Chris is joining the podcast today. So we land in Chiapas, which is the exit port of Mexico, and I hear the man say to the dockhand, the Federales are coming in Spanish. So I get pretty freaked out because this is a 420 friendly catamaran. And
putting that right out there, huh?
You know, I just feel like when we're working with the Mr. President of normal, it's kind of, like, you know, plausible deniability can only go so far.
Not a president, but, you know, just a volunteer organizer. But, you know. But no, I hear you. I mean, honestly, we thought we were going to have this experience in Ensenada, right? We thought that when we entered the country, it would be the dog and the Federales. But instead, when we entered Mexico, it was a hotel. And
yes.
That's it. And
we
just hung out at a hotel. And then every other place we went, they just kind of asked us for those original papers. They never came on the boat.
No. Which is why, when I got really freaked out when I heard the Federales are coming, I did the smart thing to do. I told an adult, okay?
You did tell me. You told me.
But
like you
Chris,
said
the Federales.
Okay, you didn't say the Federales were coming. There was a little lost translation there. You said the authorities are coming, right?
Yeah,
I assumed it was going to be like the other places where somebody comes down and they literally just look at the boat and they're like, oh, it's a catamaran.
That's what you
know
told
what I
me.
mean?
And that was good enough for me.
Yeah.
I believed you 100%.
I believe myself.
Which is why, a little bit later in the day, when I was sat at the navigation table...
It was like half an hour later. It wasn't even that long.
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. No cops to worry about. No, I'm sitting and I have... I'm rolling a blunt in between my fingers when Chris comes bolting through the door. He goes, dude, the cops are here.
I didn't say the cops are here.
What'd you say?
I said the authorities are here.
Yes. Then he said
I said the authorities are here with a dog. And you looked at me like I was joking. Honestly, you were like, haha.
Yeah,
you were like literally about to laugh. And then you could see past me, and the dude is there in the camo with the gun and the dog. I don't think they had a gun, actually. I don't think they actually had a gun.
The Mexican ones didn't carry a gun. I noticed that.
They didn't have a gun. They were in uniform.
They were 2 guys in military uniform came, and they did have a dog, and they had the port captain with them.
Yes, and so it was like 3 officials. It was like 2 guys in camo and the poor captain in like more like a blue shirt and blue pants.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Captain P was freaked out because
he was sweating buckets on that one.
The news did not get to him that there was even a hint of authorities coming. So when they showed up and the person working the marina said, "Oh, I think they're here for you,"
and they said it in a way like, "I think they're here for you," like they're here for Chris Goldstein. Like they're here for you specifically, not they're here to check you in for the, you know.
No, they're here because you did something wrong.
They're here for you.
Your life is about to change.
No, they were real funny. I mean, I knew that it was going to be okay because on the dock, they came down the dock and I had a real smelly joint in my shorts pocket. And as soon as, I was inches from the dog and the guy as they walked down the dock, and the dog didn't react, the guy didn't react.
That's how you know.
And I was like, oh, everything's going to be cool. Like, the dog isn't here for that. You know what I mean?
Which, you also probably, you could have mentioned that to me when you said there's a drug dog outside, put away the weed.
I never said that there was a drug dog outside.
At first, I went from not believing him to just, oh my God. Oh my God! I'm sad. I didn't know that he was like here, like they're here right now, and I look outside and they're on the boat. So I'm like, I obviously can't do a good job at hiding it. I just put the weed on the floor.
Yeah, and I put. We have a book that is the namesake of the boat. It's our mascot literature.
Yes.
Called Catsby. It's a book called Catsby, and I put the book. And I think about how silly that was. I put the book on top like the bag of weed, like. They'll never see it there. No. Or the dog will never smell it there.
The dog will never notice the pile of ground flour I have on the floor.
Oh man! And so and the grinder was out, the papers were out. I mean, it was like the scene in The Big Lebowski where the cops are like picking through his roaches in the tray.
Yeah. And then the place where we hid the edibles downstairs in the captain's cabin.
That was funny too.
The dog goes down there, and the very first place, the dogs immediately start sniffing this cabinet. So my dad, who had no idea they were coming, had no idea that there was a drug dog, didn't know he had to hide the weed.
It wasn't a drug dog. We have to be clear that this obviously was not a drug dog because of our experience.
It could have been a drug dog, but it wasn't a pot dog.
Right. It wasn't trained for marijuana. I guess it could have been trained for other drugs, but honestly, in the direction that we're going, nobody's transporting drugs.
This is true. Drugs go south. Money goes south.
Money goes south, right? So we assume that the dog is trained for guns and money and possibly like human trafficking or something like that, but definitely not marijuana or anything that we had. So
thank God.
Like it's the only drug we had on the boat that was in any country illicit was that. What are you looking at?
Hey, big old tuna. Marlin, dolphin?
No, that could be a whale.
That was a breaching whale.
It could have been a whale.
Maybe another podcast that has a live breaching whale on it.
That would be pretty. The dolphins today were incredible.
Oh my God, can we talk about that?
Yeah, I've never seen I've been out on the ocean my whole life. I've never seen a pod of dolphins that large.
Would it be an exaggeration to say hundreds?
No, it wouldn't. I would easily estimate that pod of dolphin we were looking at well over 100 dolphins right in front of us.
It's literally, the whole day was as calm as it was today, and there was like a wave pool that you could see from a distance from all these dolphins doing their corkscrews and jumping and splashing around and stuff.
And they're a breed of dolphin I've never seen before, and they were so up and they weren't just jumping, they were jumping and twisting and turning and landing upside down.
Yeah.
They were like aerobatic dolphins, they were like X Game dolphins, like Red Bull got into these dolphins today or something.
We have footage of it, and it is going to be up on the Between Holes Instagram account, so make sure you're following there. Go check it out. Speaking of the Between Holes Instagram account, I don't want to brag, but we have attracted the eyes of Lowe's Home Improvement, who has been peeping our Instagram reels.
Well, you have to tell them why. It's because of Alain's unique on-the-ocean laundry technique.
I've never seen that done before.
Yeah. No, it's actually pretty old school. He's doing it like French Navy style 1750.
And he was doing it today. So what you do is you get a 5-gallon bucket and you fill it up with water and soap and you put your clothes in it, and then you just hang it from the back of the boat, and the rocking of the boat serves as a washing machine.
Yeah, and since it was a Lowe's branded bucket that became this washing machine.
Uh-huh.
And we don't know. I mean, I guess Lowe's likes to see their buckets in exotic locations. You know what I mean?
They did. They did like it.
Absolutely.
They do like to see that.
Offshore of Mexico is an exotic location for that Lowe's bucket, I think.
So we've now garnered the attention of famous reality stars, Lowe's Home Improvement. Who are you going to out on the podcast right now? Who do we want to catch the eye of?
Well, it's funny. You created kind of like a like war between Lowe's and Home Depot, or at least you tried to create a like war between Lowe's and Home Depot. Yeah, they didn't bite.
Home Depot, why aren't you biting Home Depot? Yeah. I'm talking to you, Home Depot. Lowe's responded to us and you did it. Should we shop at Lowe's or do you want our business? Answer me.
Really. I mean, we could. What do we need from? We need other than buckets. What do we need from these stores? We need a lot. Honestly,
we got the AC duct that we MacGyvered from Home Depot.
Well, and okay, so we've been to both Lowe's and Home Depots, right, on this trip.
Yes.
That's what's interesting. We went to the Lowe's in Ventura. That's where we ended up getting the bucket because we had to get the boat. Didn't have any tools on board, so we had to go buy like a full set of tools for the boat.
Yeah.
And that's where we ended up getting all the stuff because that was convenient in Ventura. But on the way, we've been kind of surprised because on our Mexico trip, we expected to go to like local stores and stuff like that.
Yeah, we did.
But we keep ending up at the Walmart and the Home Depot.
Yeah,
and
every
stuff like
single
that.
Mexican town has a Walmart and a Home Depot.
Which is a little, I don't know how I mean, I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Practically pretty good because
it's been good for us.
It's been very good for us, but I don't know, like I know what you're saying.
It feels
I know what you're saying
weird,
for sure,
right?
It feels a little weird.
It was weird because like when we were in the Walmart in the one town, it was like Depeche Mode was playing in English. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mexican Walmart with English music was weird. That was
actually
weird.
The Home Depot. I noticed the Home Depot had like popular music in Spanish, so
yes,
at least there was that.
Yes, they did.
But again, we theorize maybe that the folks like to go to the Walmart and hear the American music because that's the sensation that they want of going to Walmart. You know what I mean?
It's like when we go to
like Nifty 50s. You don't want to hear Depeche Mode at Nifty 50s.
No,
you want to hear Buddy Holly. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, so there you go. But Depeche Mode is now the Buddy Holly of Walmart in Mexico, which is kind of a scary thing.
Whoa. Wait, so what's the deal with all these places that we've been going to thus far being Mexican-only resorts, and we've been like the infiltrating Americans?
Oh, it wasn't everywhere, but I will say that was true in Montanillo and Las Hadas. That was a resort that pretty much specifically caters to, and Acapulco, actually, too. I will say, we're at the Acapulco Yacht Club, which doesn't really get many transients.
No.
It's really just it really is the local yacht club.
We were talking to the chef there after dinner, and he said that it's an invitation-only club. Members only can eat at the restaurant, and
yeah, it was.
He invited us back. He said if we ever come back, we could be his guests.
Yeah, we're so lucky on this trip. Honestly, it's part of it is because we're traveling in a different direction than most boaters do, and we're going in a different way, and we're also, I don't know, we're in the off season, we're in the dry season. This is not the usual time of year that they see this kind of traffic. So, and we're making this epic journey, and everybody's like finding this affinity with us, which I find is cool. Like, we're not just like cruising down from California and back. When we tell them that we're going through the Panama Canal and to Chesapeake Bay, they're impressed, and they're like, "Oh wow, you're doing that? We'll give you a spot for the night because you're seriously taking on a major trip." So it
feels pretty cool.
It does. I mean, honestly, and Las Hadas and the Acapulco Yacht Club, again, these are places that most Americans don't get to because these venues cater to the local Mexican folks who want a vacation and have some fun here too. And really, that we're getting an experience that most Americans don't get because of that.
And I feel pretty lucky with that. And we've had to use the Spanish, which I was a little worried in Ensenada when everybody spoke English. I was like, I'm not going to be able to practice my Spanish at all. And now
don't sell yourself short. You've done really well. I mean, you've literally been.
Yes.
It was either you or Google Translate, and we would not be getting by with Google Translate. We'd have paid like 1,000 pesos for each cab the other day.
This is true. This is true.
But no, you've been doing really well, and in fact, you've picked up kind of the local accent a little bit too. Like you've been really trying. You know what I mean? But I think it's come to you really quickly, and it's become very valuable for the crew. Honestly, I was a little bit worried that nobody really. I mean, Alan's French and his Spanish from Spain is pretty good, and he's been able to get by too. But your dad and I are Google Translate. You know what I mean? When it comes to this stuff. But you really have taken it on as being the crew translator. Other than calling me gay to the Los Cabos waiter, it's been fine. You know what I mean? And it's all right. I can be known for that in Cabo. They'll welcome me back. I'm going to come back to Cabo on Pride Day and see, I got a really good reaction.
You can't be afraid to make mistakes when you're learning a new language. especially when it's not at your own detriment.
Yeah, I was about to say. You didn't call you didn't call yourself anything. You could have called yourself Catholic. That would have been funny. Oh, by the way, I'm Catholic.
There would have been you can be the Mexican gay Jew, and I will be American American Catholic Christian.
We might have a small fish on the line. I'm gonna go down and check.
Oh wow, okay, fish on the line. It's never a dull moment when you're in the middle of the Pacific. Speaking of fish on the line, I'm going to ask Chris when he gets back what he thinks the single grossest item on the boat is. I have an answer. So if you're interested in hearing that, why don't you stick around for another 5 minutes. In the meantime, should I make an OnlyFans? Hear me out, okay? I'm just noticing a lot of my female colleagues in the entertainment and communications world really making strides on OnlyFans and adult-only based subscription channels. And I'm kind of thinking... So, okay, let me back up. What do you need for an OnlyFans account to be... No! Wow! Dolphins! That's a big one! Wow! Oh my God! That thing is freaking out right now! Holy mother of guacamole! That thing was like 7 feet out of the air!
No, dude, he like jumped over the front.
Dude, oh my God! The literal... Wow, it's cool. It's a cool day to be on the Pacific. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, that's the right place to be. Okay, if you're listening to this, I get it. You got to drive to work. Be safe. But go check this out on YouTube. That was wild. Okay. Sorry for the distraction. Back to I get so excited when I see dolphins. And that was a big dolphin, too. That was a huge dolphin, and that thing was 6 feet out of the air. I can't get over that. Holy guacamole. Hey, there's another one. Hey, okay, good. We're swimming with the dolphins. Welcome to the Between Hulls cast. Anyway, talking about the OnlyFans. I've noticed, what do you need? Only dolphins here. What do you need for an OnlyFans page to be successful? Well, it helps if you're a woman. I'm not. It also helps if you have some shtick. You know what they always say in targeted public relations, media, whatever. You have to find your niche. And I think I am blessed with a fantastic opportunity for a very unique and creative niche. Who else is creating adult-only content from a sailboat? Now, I know my girlfriend would not be okay with me making an OnlyFans. I'm not talking about making an XXX-rated OnlyFans. I have this idea that every single morning we're applying sunscreen on the boat constantly, 4 or 5 times a day. And every single time it's been the running joke that when you put the sunscreen on, it's called creaming up. So the sunscreen bottle comes out and everybody shouts, cream up, cream up. And then whoever's getting to cream up gets to cream themselves in front of the 3 other men on the boat. You hear when I say it like that, it sounds like it could be an OnlyFans thing. So I'm thinking, what if I make an OnlyFans, like a joke OnlyFans? It's only for the real fans of the boat, and I'm just going to put videos of me rubbing down my body with suntan lotion and various other X-rated content that might not be sexual in nature, but it would definitely be stuff that we couldn't put on traditional social media. I just talked about the creaming out. Yeah, Chris is shouting creaming. I'm talking about the thrill of creaming myself up in front of 3 older gentlemen. And I just feel like Yeah, and so the cream up comes from my 70-year-old cousin Ben, who is a very Jewish man, and he sounds like a very Jewish man. And we're gonna get him to narrate the videos of me putting the sunscreen on, and we're gonna put it to a backtrack of some copyright-free Marvin Gaye music. I don't know. I think if one person would subscribe to that, it'd be a win, and I could die a happy man. So I don't know. Let me know what you think.
I'm gonna wash my hands before I pick up any more.
DM us in the comments if you want to see a cream up Instagram account. I'm definitely gonna have to take point on this project, but if we're lucky, I might be able to get a video of the other three creaming up. Maybe kind of like some behind the scenes voyeur action or something. Okay. I'm sorry. It's all hands on deck today. Everything is off the rails. Hey, you know what I saw today? Chris pointed it out. There was a bird sitting on a turtle floating in the middle of the ocean. Talk about something you don't see every day. How about that? We also hit a turtle the other night. I would like to say no turtles were harmed in the filming of this video, and I don't think we killed it, but it was around 3 in the morning. Chris had just started his watch. Alan had gone to bed. I was sleeping down in the kitchen, and they heard 2 big thuds of the turtle hitting the side of the boat, and they stopped, and they turned the engines off, and they looked around. They couldn't find it, but unfortunately, you do hit stuff. When it gets dark, as you're seeing right now, I'm going to have to shut the podcast off because you're not going to be able to see me soon. It gets really dark, especially when there's no moon. If there's a moon, you can kind of see the things around you. No moon, no light. You can't see the turtles, unfortunately, and we lost a good one the other day. The stars are out of this world, though. Out of this world. So we are now in El Salvador. Welcome to El Salvador, everybody. 1 podcast, 2 countries, 1 ocean. You'll never see this anywhere else. We've now been in 3 countries in the past 2 days, which is pretty cool. They're getting really close together. It took us like 3 weeks to get through all of Mexico, and we just did Guatemala in a day. How about that? Up next, the next country we'll go through is Honduras. There's just a very little sliver of it on the Pacific Ocean, and then we're going to hit the country on the other side of Honduras, Nicaragua, and then after Nicaragua, we hit Costa Rica, and then we hit Panama. We think we might have to stop in Costa Rica because of we're going to need gas, but the problem about stopping in Costa Rica is they make you import the boat and export the boat. So a gas trip to Costa Rica is thousands of dollars, it turns out. Just like we checked in Mexico and we had to show the paperwork at every stop along the way, Costa Rica makes you do that as well. The only problem is we really only want to stop in Costa Rica for 20 minutes to get gas and then continue on to Panama. They may make us pay the $500 entry fee, the $500 exit fee, and then on top of that make us pay off the local authorities, the port captain, and then we have to pay $8 a gallon for diesel gas on top of that. So we're trying to find a workaround. We were hoping we were going to be able to sail a little bit more, but like I said, there's no wind to speak of. More on that in the coming days. We're about 2 more days sail away from Costa Rica, so we'll hit Nicaragua, Honduras, and El Salvador in the next 2 days, and then after that, it's 5 more days to the Panama Canal. The song of the day today is by Avenged Sevenfold. I'm going to play it for you if you're listening live. If you're not, well, I'm not going to plug the song too much because then you're going to stop listening to the podcast. When we come back for the podcast, I have one more thing to talk about. We're going to get back with Chris and discuss what the single grossest item on the boat is. In the meantime, this is Afterlife by Avenged Sevenfold on the Between Holes podcast. Right, that was all right. Afterlife by A7X on the Between Holes podcast, the song of the day, which you just listened to live, baby. We're here talking. The question of the day is, what is the single grossest item we have on the boat?
Oh, man. So underneath our shower is a small strainer that is in the drain, and it catches all the hair that comes off of our bodies along with all the soap scum in the shower, and we have to clean it every time we shower because we've discovered that one shower is enough to clog that screen and have the shower water start to come back up over our feet.
That's unsavory. So, and of course then the shower water has all the hair in it and everything.
Yeah. And I have the only pump toilet on the boat, so I feel like there's portions of the pump toilet could be the grossest thing in the boat.
I think the single grossest thing we have on the boat is the fish towel.
We could clean that, though. That can be ungross in like 5 minutes. We could do the bucket.
We could do the Lowe's bucket with
the bucket
at Lowe's.
And there you go. Fish towel dealt with. No problem. No grossness.
The fish towel has seen so many fish guts.
Yeah, but
the corpses of 2 mahi, countless skipback, an amberjack tuna.
Oh, man.
And I wouldn't even... Dude, I don't know if you could wash what's in that out of that.
I was going to say there might be a couple socks on this boat. That might be the grossest thing on the boat. All right. No. Do you remember those random socks that we picked up at the Ventura laundromat that nobody wanted to take back? I suggested we distribute one to everybody.
No, I don't like it. Why? They've been slowly disappearing too. Do you have something to say?
No, I don't know what, I was going to... I
sleep in the kitchen. What do you think I'm doing with the socks?
I would imagine you're just using paper towel. So all those fresh rolls.
We're off the rails. This has been the Between Holes podcast today, live from El Salvador. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Funny.